Where the president has declared a national emergency to build the border barrier. This after Congress refused money for the project he long promised Mexico would pay for. Our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Fry joins us now from Capitol Hill. Kevin, what are North Carolina lawmakers saying tonight?
Well, Tim, as a general rule, Democrats just do not like this. The Republicans are more of an interesting story because there is kind of some internal division when it comes to them. You have on the one extreme Congressman Mark Meadows, who basically said in a tweet this evening that this emergency declaration is legal and well-founded. He's, of course, a very close Trump ally here on Capitol Hill. On the other end, there was a pretty scathing statement from Senator Thom Tillis today, who really expressed some concern about the precedent this might be setting, that Democrats could come along later and perhaps use emergency declarations for their own benefit for issues they care about. He wrote in that statement saying, while I agree with President Trump's policy goal, I do not believe in situational principles. And it's clear what kind of rabbit hole our country can go down when we have a Democratic president who wants more government intrusion into our economy and our lives. Now, another person who has expressed concern about possible precedent to me was Congressman Mark Walker. So I asked him today when I sat down to interview him, I'm like, okay, so what do you think of going forward with this emergency declaration? Are you concerned about this? We know that Democrats in the House are already talking about the possibility of trying to upend this, of basically reversing it. I asked him, would you go along with that? And he said no. He further explained here.
I think the president is going to be okay in selecting some of the money and some of the funding. I think $3.5 billion will come from MilCon, which is already set aside for construction out of our military and defense budget. May be that some of the places will be a little short for a few years, but he has that right to ultimately go there if it's not creating additional funding. And I think that's the gray area there that we want to make sure that we stay on top of.
And we should specify, when he says MilCon, he means military construction, which is one of the things spelled out in this emergency declaration as a potential source of money for the border wall. And that has raised some concerns from North Carolina Governor, Congressman Richard Hudson, and others about where this money could come from. Could it impact projects at military bases across North Carolina? Tim?
Kevin, there's been talk for weeks leading up to this. Would this be legal or not? Is that fight starting already?
Right, so we got over the budget fight. Now we're moving into this next one about the constitutionality of all of this and the separation of powers. Can the president actually do this, or is he overstepping his role in the executive branch? We already know that the ACLU has basically filed suit. They're going to sue the president, saying that this is an overreach of the presidential powers. And the president seemed to acquiesce to that whole reality during his press conference today when he basically said that this is going to go up to the Supreme Court. He's already kind of accepting that is where this is heading.